What's going on, internet? It is your boy Eric Bandholz. Why don't you guys come and take a walk with me? Cheers from Des Moines, Iowa. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between being an entrepreneur and being a business owner. Of course, I am an entrepreneur. I view myself as an entrepreneur. I am also a business owner, and I think the idea of those two get confused quite regularly. I think a lot of people assume that if you're an entrepreneur, you're automatically a business owner, and if you're a business owner, you're automatically an entrepreneur. So I've wanted to be a business owner / entrepreneur for a very long time. In fact, I remember when I was probably about 9 years old, starting a side little project with my buddy, and we sold sugar stuffed in straws, and we taped them together, and we had a little ledger and all this stuff. So it was something that was kind of ingrained in me at an early age. My grandmother owned a bar, a restaurant. My dad had a staffing business, and it's kind of in my DNA. But I struggled, I worked in sales before Beard Brand, and I was pretty successful at what I did. Of course, you guys know I got into financial advising. But while I worked in some of those jobs, all I wanted to do was start my own business, start my own business. And eventually, I did it. So I started, first business I started was with my dad in his staffing business. And that was executive recruiter. And I worked out of my home, and I was like, yes, finally. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, I'm, whatever, I had all these labels, and I wasn't finding happiness in that job, because essentially what I was, the reality of what I was an independent contractor. And I was just a one-man person working my job, supporting myself, or trying to support myself, and wasn't really building anything. I guess if I was really successful, there would have been an opportunity to build something, but the reality is it went nowhere. And while I did that, I had other business ideas, and I think the one common thread to the first 10 years of my career where I was never content. I was never happy with the projects I was working on, the companies I was working for, or the businesses that I was working on. So that executive recruiting, it flopped. And then I spun that off and started this e-commerce business selling vinyl wall graphics. I got 2 sales, had this beautiful website, great designs, and then it kind of flopped. It didn't go anywhere. I wasn't passionate about the project, and spun into this I want to call it depression, but just self-doubt in my career. That's when I started working again for the man. I started working for the financial advisor at that point. Meanwhile, I'd be doing side projects. So I had Startup Spokane. I started up Spokane Beard and Mustache. I started up a few other projects, Soul, Society of Libertarian Entrepreneurs, all these things, and none of them really fulfilled my quench as an entrepreneur and fulfilled my quench as a business owner. And in my pathway, in my journey, as I've grown and finally finding what I wanted to find with Beard Brand, and what I've been looking for with Beard Brand, is an understanding that being an entrepreneur and being a business owner are different. And what that difference is an entrepreneur is a person that sees opportunity in the world, sees something that that is not currently being provided, in a very particular way. So it could be a product, it could be service, it could be anything, right? You just see an opportunity. And business owner is a person that clearly owns a business. Now, a lot of times, like I said, those two things, they cross over, and you know, a person is both an entrepreneur and a business owner. But here's the thing is, you can be an entrepreneur and work for somebody else. And I think that's the biggest thing that people don't realize. Like, everyone's driven to be an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to be the next Mark Zuckerberg or whatever Uber tech startup that's going on. But you can like fulfill those entrepreneurial traits and desires working for an organization that has an entrepreneurial mindset. So for example, my brother, he's got a wife, 3 kids. They depend on him. My sister-in-law is a stay-at-home mother, and his income is required. So he took this new job at Lenovo, working on this new division that is trying to grab market share. Essentially, he's an entrepreneur. He's in a management role at Lenovo, trying to start up a new division within Lenovo without the same risk and headaches that come as a business owner. Because a business owner, like, your mortgage is on the line, your marital relationship's on the line, your everything, like, everything financially kind of depends on your role there. And it's a huge burden to not only be an entrepreneur and try to see the market, you know, adjust to the market and make these moves, but also to pay for it, to finance it, to support it, to make sure it's profitable. Now, if you want to be a business owner, that's not hard. I mean, you just go to your local brokerage office, you buy some stocks, and you technically own a piece of a business. I mean, that's all there is to it. But of course, at a small scale, you're going to need to put a little more capital into it, and you may or may not want to have decision-making power or influence on the way the management of the business is going. So I think it's important to understand that just because you're a business owner, also it means you're not necessarily an entrepreneur. Because like I said, you could buy stock and own business, and there you go, you're a business owner. But you don't have that passion for risk, you don't have that passion to see the market, you don't have that foresight to do the things necessary to change the world. Now, don't get me wrong, like, business owners are valuable because they facilitate and enable that from a capital perspective and from, like, you know, maybe even like a board perspective. But two different mindsets. So first, understand what you are. You know, are you an entrepreneur? What is your life like? Do you need to take risk? Can you find a role within a company that needs entrepreneurial people and not take on that risk and learn and become that person? Or do you want to be a business owner without the risk? And then do you have the resources to make that possible? And finally, do you want to do both? You know, are you ready to take the plunge? It's a very stressful situation to be both a business owner and an entrepreneur, but it's also very rewarding as well. You get full freedom to define the way you want to live your life and how you want to serve your customers. And it's a wonderful journey that I would recommend many people to make, but not everyone. So appreciate the walk, guys. Heading in to get some coffee here in Des Moines. Plug for Caribou Coffee. Until next time, cheers and walk on.